You know that saying, nice guys finish last? It's one of those things you hear all the time, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It tops up everywhere. Casual chats, memes, definitely some dating advice columns.
Right. And it always kind of circles back to this big question. Do women really want a nice guy? Or is it more complicated?
It is complicated, and that's kind of the core of this idea that maybe being kind is, well, a disadvantage in dating, which feels wrong, doesn't it?
It does.
So for this deep dive, we're looking at our source material, Textuale, and the plan is really to get under the skin of that phrase.
Yeah, let's unpack it. What does nice guy even mean? And, what does the source say women actually value?
Exactly. So jumping into Textuale, one of the first things it does, which I think is super important, is point out that nice guy isn't just one thing.
Okay. Like, it has different meanings depending on who you ask.
Precisely. The text lays out these two, totally contrasting definitions.
Let's hear it.
So on one hand, you've got the sort of theoretical definition, the ideal, maybe.
The good kind of nice.
Yeah, exactly. Someone who's genuinely respectful, kind, emotionally there for you, supportive, and crucially, not manipulative. Just a decent person.
Okay, that sounds, pretty good. Like baseline human decency almost.
Right. You'd think that's what everyone would want. But then there's the other definition, the one you often see in pop culture.
The stereotype. I think I know where this is going.
Yeah. This version is often painted as passive, maybe too accommodating, like a pushover.
Okay.
And here's the real twist the text points out. This type often seems to act nice with an expectation, like they're owed something romantic in return.
Ooh, okay. The I held the door, where's my date kind of vibe.
Kind of, and it often comes with complaining about the friend zone, maybe some underlying resentment if their niceness isn't, rewarded with romance.
Right. That subtle bitterness.
And what's really interesting is the text suggests that women are usually pretty good at telling the difference
between genuine kindness
and the kind that feels like it's got strings attached.
Yeah.
Transactional kindness, maybe.
That makes sense. You can often feel the intention behind someone's actions, can't you?
You really can. So, okay, moving past just the definition, Textuale then digs into the actual psychology of attraction.
And does it back up the idea that basic kindness is good?
It does, yeah. It emphasizes that things like real kindness, emotional intelligence, empathy, these are genuinely attractive qualities, especially, it notes, for long-term partners. There's even psych research supporting this.
So kindness isn't the problem.
Not the genuine kind, no. But, and this is a big but in the text attraction, is, well, it's multifaceted. It's not just about being nice.
Okay, so what else is in the mix according to the source?
Well, it lists things like confidence real, earned confidence, having passion for something, a sense of purpose, and fundamentally self-respect.
Okay, so it's the whole package.
Exactly. And this is where the connection to the nice guy stereotype comes in. The text suggests that someone might be nice, objectively speaking. But if they lack that confidence, if they're constantly trying too hard to please, or if they don't seem to have boundaries or respect themselves, that can come across as less attractive.
So it's not the niceness itself that's unattractive.
No, it's often the perceived lack of something else, like emotional strength, maybe, or that self-assuredness.
That clicks. Kindness without a backbone might feel a bit weak. Is that fair?
The text kind of hints at that, yeah.
Yeah.
Which leads into another interesting area. It covers the role of masculinity.
Okay, how does that fit in? Cultural ideas about strength and stuff?
Exactly. Broader cultural definitions. The text acknowledges that, look, some women are drawn to men who seem more traditionally dominant or assertive.
All right.
But, and this is crucial, the text is really clear, this isn't about wanting to be treated badly. It's not about wanting a jerk.
So what is it about then? What do those traits signal?
They can often signal things like strength, confidence, leadership qualities, the ability to handle things, that kind of assurance.
Okay, so it's not about being aggressive, but about being capable, assertive in a healthy way.
That seems to be the idea. The text really pushes back against the bad boy myth. It suggests women often want someone who's both kind and strong.
A blend.
Yeah, someone who can be gentle and supportive, but also has their own opinions, sets boundaries, has that inner strength. Soft and strong, you could say.
So it's not about faking being tough.
Definitely not. The text frames it more as having your own standards, knowing your direction in life, having genuine confidence, not arrogance, and alongside all that, treating people well. It's that whole picture.
Okay, which leads us to something the text calls a hard truth about that nice guy mentality.
Yes. This part might sting a little for some.
Go on.
Basically, the text suggests that if you see yourself as a nice guy, but you're constantly frustrated because women aren't romantically interested, maybe the issue isn't them.
Oof. Time for some self-reflection.
That's the strong suggestion. It really zooms in on that problematic transactional viewpoint we mentioned earlier.
The I'm nice, so I deserve affection idea.
Exactly. That expectation. Text Colley is pretty blunt here. It calls that mindset unattractive and, frankly, manipulative.
Wow. Okay. That's direct.
It is.
Okay.
Because real kindness, the kind that actually connects people, doesn't keep score. It doesn't come with conditions.
Yeah, it shouldn't feel like a business deal.
Right. And the text points out people, women included, are often really perceptive about that stuff. They can sense when niceness isn't quite genuine, when there's an agenda.
That emotional dishonesty, you can feel it.
You really can. So after all this breaking down the definitions, the psychology, the masculinity angle, we land back at the main question. According to Tex Colley, do women want a nice guy?
And the answer is?
A clear yes, but it's crucial which kind of nice guy we're talking about.
Right. Not the stereotype. Not the passive, insecure, secretly resentful one.
Exactly. The text is pretty specific about the desirable qualities. It's about being authentically kind and compassionate.
Okay, what else?
Being honest, emotionally available, having genuine self-confidence, not bravado, but real inner confidence.
Boundaries, too, you mentioned.
Yes, having boundaries and self-respect. And even the text adds being able to challenge a partner sometimes, respectfully, not just agreeing with everything.
Interesting. So it's not about being a doormat.
Not at all. The text really emphasizes this idea of integration. The ideal partner isn't purely a nice or purely strong assertive. It's often someone who blends those qualities.
Emotional intelligence and assertiveness.
Yeah.
Kindness and drive.
Precisely that. It's not an either-or choice between the classic nice guy and the bad boy. It's about finding someone who embodies a more complete, balanced set of traits.
And Tex Colley also throws in something about how attraction can change over time, right? It's not fixed.
Yeah, that's another really valuable point it makes. What you find attractive in your, say, early 20s might be quite different later on.
How so?
Well, the text suggests that maybe when you're younger, excitement, novelty, perhaps even a bit of drama might seem more appealing to some.
The thrill of the chase, maybe.
Could be part of it. But as people mature and maybe start thinking about more serious, long-term relationships, other qualities often rise in importance, like emotional stability, reliability, genuine dependability. And in that context, the text argues authentic kindness and emotional maturity become incredibly valuable. They're seen as strengths.
So the truly nice qualities might actually win out in the long run.
That's strongly implied. Their stock goes up, you could say.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. If we boil down everything from Tex Colley on this nice guys finish last thing, what's the main takeaway?
I think the biggest thing is that the saying itself is just way too simple. It misses all the nuance. Genuine kindness, absolutely valued, hugely important.
But it needs context.
Exactly. It needs to be paired with authenticity. It needs to come from a place of self-worth. It needs to exist alongside healthy boundaries.
Right. So as Tex Colley concludes, kindness itself isn't the weak link.
No. Often if there's a perceived problem, it might actually stem from a lack of confidence or weak boundaries, or maybe that kindness just doesn't feel quite real, that lack of authenticity.
That makes a lot of sense. It reframes the whole issue.
It really does. So maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over based on all this.
Okay. Leave us with something to think about.
Think about your own ideas about kindness and attraction. When you interact with people, are you bringing your authentic self to the table? Is your kindness genuine, offered freely, without expecting something specific back? And, just as importantly, are you also cultivating your own confidence, your own sense of self, and maintaining those healthy boundaries?
It's about the whole picture, isn't it?
It really is. The text suggests it's in that mix, authentic kindness plus genuine self-assuredness, that real, meaningful connections are most likely to spark and grow.